Sir, we were discussing about how caste system was originated and how it was later transformed step by step. And I also watched your video regarding annihilation of caste. So, so how do you think the caste system has transformed to our society in the current generation? Like there were various reformers who fought for the annihilation of caste and not just for destroying or prohibition of caste. And we were also discussing today. But recently there was a bill that was introduced, right? Love Jihad bill. So what do you think about that?
Instead of considering us, we are us, we make a distinction, we and others. Love Jihad makes a religious distinction. Marital relation, earlier it was decided by elders. Arranged marriages, marital relations. We know that there were, not even some 100 years ago, we were fighting, our progressive forces were fighting with the government to bring about legislation to raise the age of consent. We wanted to avoid child marriage. When children were given in marriage, why it should be opposed? The reason was that the children did not know what life was. She was forced on a man whom she never knew, and her only duty was to bequeath children for the man. She had no social right. Her life partner, she could not decide. Only elders or the traditions or caste order decided. And we fought against the child marriage for law. One important thing is that when we are against child marriage, that implies that we want to give the girls the right to choose their life partner. Who are the government to put restrictions on choosing their life partner? That is an interference in the human rights, in the basic rights. Progress of civilization is based on securing more and more rights for both genders, more and more equal rights for genders. Now, this love jihad issue, especially it is about the Muslim men marrying Hindu women. They are more concerned about Muslim men marrying Hindu women. There was a case a couple of years ago in Kerala where a Hindu girl loved a Muslim boy, both educated, and the father of the girl put a case against this marriage, and they, at that time, this particular word love jihad was popularized in Kerala. The girl came to the court. They stated she was about 22 years old, the boy was about 23, and she voluntarily married him on her own will. She married him. The court wanted her to live separately for 1 year. For a 22-year-old girl, how the court can ask her to be away from her husband for 1 year? Even judiciary heard it. Later on, they were allowed to live together. Here, the thing is that male society, even I forgot to mention one thing. Social formations were based on male leadership. In Kula, the Kulapa was father. Mother had no role. The property was inherited by the elder son. Daughters had no share. And they were married, and the man alone had the right to dispose of the wife. The wife did not have the right to disown the husband. All this, the male dominated society. When civilization progresses, culture progresses, that particular gender domination must be put to an end. Both genders should have equal rights. They will adjust themselves. If somebody commits excesses, they will make good of it later on. But here, who are the people to decide what is moral and what is immoral? Marrying is immoral. They say that marriage becomes immoral or illegal because that particular male belongs to a different religion. In Tamil Nadu too, we come across that what you call the honor killing based on that. That shows that though we introduced progressive laws, society remained what you call little conservative, little backward, and social transformation is needed. Mere legal transformation is not sufficient. But what is in love jihad is that they try to legalize the retrograde system. They are trying to legalizing what we consider against intrusion into the personal liberty. Legislation must be progressive legislation. Society has to be transformed to suit that progressive legislation. That is one thing. Here legislation itself is retrograde legislation. So a society and judiciary cannot be party to such a legislation. Unfortunately, I don't have much faith in our judiciary, because the people who occupy their positions, their cultural honesty is very important. Most of the people are bound giving their judgment as a discretionary judgment, not based on legalities. Discretion cannot be the basis of the judgment. Legality is there. Even in cases where the intercaste marriages take place, they sometimes violate that legality of legality which is based on equality. The gender equality is very difficult to be achieved without that gender, female gender, assert themselves. Assertion is important. Without assertion, nobody can retain their rights. The females, they should unite to secure their rights, to save their rights for the future. Even the temple entry, you know that even today there is a problem. The judiciary gives different judgments. In fact, one judgment is contradicted by the later judgment. And they say that one woman judge says that no, in such matters the court cannot interfere much. They cannot give equal rights to the women. That particular statement was given by a woman judge. Tradition and this legal society. In any civilized society, if tradition will be acceptable as long as it does not contradict the legal basis. But in our society, legality will be accepted as long as it does not contradict the tradition. This is the different thing. In Western societies, traditions will be permitted as long as they do not contradict the established constitutional system. In our society, the legal system will be accepted as long as they do not violate the tradition. How can we call ourselves a democratic society? Democratic society is based on one thing, rule of law. Rule of law, all are equal before law, nobody is above law, the same law is applicable to all. These are the three tenets of the rule of law. If either of the three is not observed, then it is not a democratic country. Here different systems, laws are the system of law is there, but you quote tradition to violate the law and the court accepts it. How can we call ourselves a people of country which adopts democracy and rule of law? So all this must be debated, questioned, protested and resisted.
உன் கடவுளை விட உன் சாஸ்திரத்தை விட உன் முன்னோரை விட உன் வெங்காயம் வழக்கமாத்தை விட உன் அறிவு பெருசு அதை சிந்தி